The small blue-skinned Kelbari people were dying. Their beautiful ocean planet Kelba was falling apart around them. Huge storms battered their floating cities, while the once clear waters turned dark and poisonous. Earthquakes shook their underwater. Homes and many Kelbari had already died. In desperation, they gathered their best scientists to send one last message to the stars. "Please help us," they begged in simple picture language that any species might understand. "Our world is dying. We cannot save ourselves." The message traveled across the vast emptiness of space for years. Eventually, it reached the planets of many advanced alien species who had been exploring space for thousands of years. These aliens had powerful ships, amazing technology, and the ability to travel between stars as easily as humans drive between cities. The message also reached Earth. Humans had only recently figured out how to travel to nearby stars, using ships that were considered primitive by galactic standards. Earth Space Command Center picked up the strange signal one quiet Tuesday morning. "What do you make of this?" asked Commander Lee, staring at the strange symbols flashing across the screen. The room fell silent as the team realized they were seeing their first real alien message. Dr. Priya Singh, Earth's top language expert, spent 3 days without sleep until she cracked the code. "They're dying," she announced to the shocked room of scientists and military leaders. "An entire species is asking for our help." News of the alien message spread across Earth like wildfire. People everywhere watched their screens as scientists showed the first images of the Kelbari, gentle creatures with webbed hands, shimmering skin that changed colors with their emotions, and huge, sad eyes that seemed to look right into the human soul. Meanwhile, far away in the center of the galaxy, the powerful aliens who ruled space gathered at the Galactic Council. These aliens came in all shapes and sizes. Some looked like giant insects, others like talking clouds of gas, and some resembled walking trees or lizards. What they shared was their advanced technology and their belief that they were superior to lesser species. "The Kelbari are barely more advanced than animals," sneered Ambassador Zorks of the Vreen Empire, his tentacles waving dismissively. "They never developed proper space travel. They cannot even leave their oceans without special equipment. Their planet's destruction is natural selection," agreed the representative of the crystalline Axe-Tala race. "Species rise and fall. It is not our concern." For 3 days, the council debated while more distress signals arrived from Kelba. The Kelbari reported rising ocean temperatures killing their food supply. Their children were getting sick from poison in the water. When Earth's representative, Dr. Raj Patel, was finally allowed to speak at the council, he was shocked by their coldness. "How you all have the power to save them," he shouted, breaking diplomatic protocol. "How can you sit here talking while an entire species dies?" The council leader, a tall blue being with 6 arms, looked down at Dr. Patel with ancient eyes. "Humans, too young to understand galactic politics. This matter is closed. No species will interfere with the natural extinction of the Kelbari." As Dr. Patel's ship returned to Earth carrying the terrible news, he looked out at the stars and made a decision. If the advanced aliens wouldn't help the Kelbari, perhaps humanity, young, stubborn, and still idealistic, would have to do it alone. The giant meeting hall of the Galactic Council sparkled with strange lights as thousands of alien representatives took their seats. The hall was built inside a massive space station that orbited a beautiful ringed planet. From the outside, it looked like a silver spider web stretching for miles across empty space. Dr. Patel, Earth's ambassador, felt small as he walked to his assigned spot. Earth had only joined the Council 3 years ago, and most of the alien races still treated humans like annoying children. Dr. Patel straightened his formal blue uniform and prepared for the fight ahead. "This emergency session will now begin," announced the council leader, a tall being with skin like polished metal. His voice boomed through the hall without needing a microphone. "We gather to discuss the situation on planet Kelba." The main screen showed new images from the dying planet. Massive waves crashed over Kelbari cities. Buildings crumbled into the churning oceans. The small blue aliens could be seen swimming frantically, carrying their young to higher ground. "The Kelbari have sent 37 distress signals in the past week," said the council's information officer, a creature that looked like a floating purple cloud. Their last message states that 20% of their population has already perished. Murmurs filled the hall, but Dr. Patel noticed something disturbing. The aliens weren't showing sadness or concern. They were just curious, like scientists watching an experiment. "The scientific committee has reviewed this case," said a tall insect-like alien with compound eyes. "We find no value in intervention. The Kelbari never developed significant technology. They cannot even manipulate metal properly due to living underwater. Their contribution to galactic knowledge would be minimal." Dr. Patel couldn't believe his ears. He pressed the button to speak, but was ignored as other council members continued. "The Economic Committee agrees," said a short, furry alien with 6 arms. "The rescue operation would cost billions of credits. The Kelbari possess no valuable resources or skills to justify this expense. The military committee sees no strategic advantage in saving them," added a reptilian creature. "They would make poor allies in any future conflicts." Dr. Patel's anger grew with each cold statement. Finally, he stood up without permission. "What about basic decency?" he shouted. The hall fell silent at this breach of protocol. "These are intelligent beings with families, culture, and hopes, just like all of us." The council leader's eyes narrowed. "Earth's representative will wait to be recognized before speaking." Dr. Patel sat down, his hands shaking with anger. "As I was saying," continued the reptilian alien, "we propose invoking the natural selection protocol. When a species faces extinction due to planetary disaster, we allow nature to take its course." Dr. Patel was finally recognized to speak. He walked to the central platform, feeling the stares of thousands of alien eyes. "The Kelbari may not have spaceships or laser weapons," he said, his voice growing stronger, "but they have created beautiful underwater cities. They have music that can be heard for miles through ocean water. They have stories they've passed down for 10,000 years. He showed images of Kelbari children, their big eyes full of fear. How can we call ourselves advanced if we let them die when we have the power to help? The council leader looked bored. "Your emotional appeal is noted. However, the protocol exists for a reason. Not every species survives. That is the way of the universe." The vote was quick and devastating. Over 2,000 council members voted to abandon the Kelbari. Only Earth and 7 smaller alien nations voted to help. As Dr. Patel left the chamber, a small green alien approached him. "Your species is young," she whispered, "but you speak with wisdom many older races have forgotten. I cannot help officially, but find me later." Dr. Patel nodded, a plan already forming in his mind. If the council wouldn't help the Kelbari, humans would have to try alone. Council rules be damned. Dr. Patel's ship landed at the United Earth headquarters in Geneva with a hiss of cooling engines. After 3 weeks in space, the Earth's blue, skies and green trees were a welcome sight, but he couldn't enjoy them. His mind was filled with images of the dying Kelbari. Security officers escorted him directly to the emergency council chamber where Earth's leaders waited. The room fell, silent as he entered. 50 men and women from every continent watched him with worried eyes. "The Galactic Council has abandoned the Kelbari," Dr. Patel announced without preamble. "They voted to let an entire species die because they don't consider them advanced enough to save." Gasps and mutters filled the room. The president, a stern woman with grey-streaked hair, leaned forward. "Show us everything," she said. For the next hour, Dr. Patel shared videos of Kelba's destruction, the Kelbari's desperate messages, and the council's cold response. When he finished, the room was so quiet you could hear people breathing. "If we help them," said the defense minister, breaking the silence, "we'll be going against the Galactic Council's direct orders. They could cut off our access to interstellar trade routes. We've only just started establishing colonies on other planets. Those colonies depend on alien technology for survival." The economic minister nodded in agreement. "We're talking about risking everything we've built in the past decade. Jobs, technological advances, medicines we get from other worlds. And what about our own problems?" asked another council member. "We still have poverty on Earth, climate refugees. Shouldn't we focus on helping humans first?" The debate raged for hours. Dr. Patel watched as Earth's leaders argued, their faces growing red, voices rising in passion or dropping to whispers of concern. An old man who had been quiet stood up slowly. He was the representative from a small, island nation that had nearly disappeared under rising seas decades ago. "My grandparents lost their homeland," he said, his voice soft, but carrying to every corner of the room. "Most countries turned away our refugees, but some opened their doors. I'm standing here today because strangers chose to help." He looked around the room. "If we let the Kelbari die when we could save them, what kind of species are we?" A young woman from the science ministry spoke next. "The Kelbari have knowledge we don't. They understand ocean ecosystems in ways we never could. Their music uses sound waves in ways our scientists are just beginning to understand. If they die, all that knowledge dies with them." As the sun set outside, the president called for a vote. The chamber grew tense as each leader pressed their button. Dr. Patel held his breath. The results appeared on the main screen. 32 votes to help the Kelbari, 18 votes against. "It's decided then," said the president. "Earth will mount a rescue mission to Kelba against the Galactic Council's wishes." She turned to Dr. Patel. "You've put us in a difficult position, Doctor, but I believe it's the right one. Humanity cannot stand by and watch genocide through inaction." Within hours, the news spread across Earth. In city squares and living rooms, people debated the decision. Many supported saving the aliens, while others protested, carrying signs that read, "Humans first and don't risk our future for aliens." Outside the space agency headquarters, crowds gathered as officials began calling in ship captains and crew members. No one was being ordered to go. This mission was too dangerous for anything but volunteers. To everyone's surprise, by morning, more than 5,000 people had stepped forward. Pilots, doctors, engineers, and ordinary people willing to risk everything to save a species they'd never met. As Dr. Patel watched the volunteers lining up, a reporter shoved a microphone in his face. "Why should humans risk everything for these aliens?" Dr. Patel thought for a moment before answering. "Because if we don't help when we can, we don't deserve to be called human." The massive hangar at Earth's orbital shipyard buzzed with activity. Hundreds of workers raced back and forth, loading supplies into waiting spaceships. Medical equipment, water purifiers, portable shelters, and tons of food disappeared into cargo holds. Every available ship had been called in for the rescue mission, 37 vessels in total. Captain Kumar stood on a high walkway, watching the organized chaos below. After 20 years in Earth's Space Force, he'd never seen anything like this. His ship, the Horizon, would lead the rescue fleet to Kelba. "Captain," called a voice behind him. He turned to see Dr. Patel approaching with a tablet. "Final crew assignments are ready for your approval." Captain Kumar scrolled through the list. Over 3,000 volunteers had been selected from the thousands who applied. The crew included marine biologists, language specialists, emergency doctors, engineers who specialized in underwater structures, and soldiers for protection. "We've never attempted anything this big," Captain Kumar said, his voice quiet. "Do you really think we can save an entire species?" Dr. Patel's eyes showed his exhaustion, but also his determination. "We have to try." In the medical bay of the Horizon, Dr. Wong supervised the loading of special breathing equipment. The Kelbari couldn't survive in air for more than a few minutes. If they were going to rescue thousands of the aquatic aliens, they needed water-filled transport pods. "Make sure those seals are perfect," she instructed a young engineer. "The slightest leak could be fatal for them." "Doctor," the engineer asked, looking nervous, "is it true the Council might punish Earth for this? My sister just had a baby." Dr. Wong placed a hand on his shoulder. "We all have people we're worried about, but we also have to live with ourselves. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror if we did nothing." In the ship's command center, Navigation Officer Garcia plotted the journey to Kelba. The blue-green planet was 32 light-years away, a trip that would take 3 weeks at maximum speed. "The storms around Kelba are getting worse," she told the approaching Captain Kumar, pointing to satellite images. "We'll have a narrow window to evacuate before the entire planet becomes uninhabitable. Then we'll just have to be fast," the captain replied. As sunset painted Earth's atmosphere gold, final preparations were made. Family members gathered at viewports to say goodbye. Some cried, others tried to look brave. No one knew if the fleet would be allowed to return after defying the Galactic Council. A young boy tugged at his father's uniform. "Dad, will the aliens like us?" The father, an engineering officer, knelt down. "I hope so, buddy. They need our help, and that's what humans do. We help when we can." At midnight, the final countdown began. The massive engines of 37 ships hummed to life, vibrating through the metal floors. One by one, the vessels lifted off from Earth's orbital shipyard. Captain Kumar sat in his command chair, watching Earth grow smaller on the view screen. His heart pounded with the weight of responsibility, not just for his crew, but for humanity's future and the survival of an entire alien species. "Captain," called the communications officer suddenly, "we're receiving transmissions from multiple alien vessels." The main screen filled with the faces of different alien species, some humanoid, others completely strange. They all looked angry. "Humans, turn back immediately," demanded a tall grey alien with 4 eyes. "The Council has not authorized this mission. Continuing will mark Earth as a rogue planet." Another alien, this one with blue scales and sharp teeth, spoke next. "Any planet that helps the Kelbari will lose all trading rights with the Galactic Alliance. Your colonies will be cut off from supplies." Captain Kumar exchanged glances with Dr. Patel, who stood beside his chair. "Should we respond?" asked the communications officer, her hand hovering over the controls. "Yes," Captain Kumar said firmly. He straightened his uniform and faced the screen. "This is Captain Kumar of Earth's rescue fleet. We acknowledge your warnings, but our course remains unchanged. The Kelbari asked for help and we're answering. That's what humans do." He signaled to cut the transmission. The alien faces disappeared. "All ships report ready for deep space jump, Captain," reported the navigation officer. Captain Kumar took a deep breath and gave the order that might change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Take us to Kelba." 37 engines flared bright blue as Earth's rescue fleet accelerated to light speed, leaving behind safety and certainty, heading toward a dying world and an uncertain future. After 3 weeks of traveling through the darkness of space, the Earth fleet finally arrived at Kelba. As the ships dropped out of light speed, gasps echoed across every command bridge. The planet below looked nothing like the beautiful blue-green world they had seen in the old recordings. "My God," whispered Captain Kumar as he stared at the main view screen. "It's worse than we thought." Massive storms covered more than half the planet, swirling with angry purple and black clouds. Lightning flashed constantly, and the ocean, once a clear turquoise, now looked dark and sickly. Huge waves, some taller than skyscrapers, crashed against the few remaining pieces of land. Sensors show acid levels in the ocean have increased 300% in just the last month, reported the science officer, her voice shaking. "And there's volcanic activity all along the ocean floor." Dr. Wong joined them on the bridge, her face pale as she looked at the readings. "Can anything even survive down there anymore?" "We need to find out," Captain Kumar said. "Prepare the underwater probes and the first contact team. We didn't come all this way to give up now." 6 hours later, the first human shuttle cautiously descended through Kelba's violent atmosphere. Inside, the contact team gripped their seats as turbulence shook the small craft like a toy. "This is insane!" shouted the pilot over the roar of the engines. "We're experiencing wind speeds of over 300 kilometers per hour. Dr. Patel, leading the contact team, checked his breathing equipment one last time. "Just get us to the coordinates." They sent in their last message. Their main city should be directly below us. When the shuttle finally broke through the storm clouds, they got their first look at the ocean's surface. Massive waves rolled across the water, topped with strange purple foam. In the distance, they could see the ruins of what once must have been beautiful floating structures, now mostly smashed and sinking. The pilot engaged the special underwater engines, and the shuttle plunged beneath the waves. The darkness was immediate and complete until the powerful searchlights kicked on the sea. "Acid in the water is already eating at our outer hull," warned the engineer. "We have maybe 2 hours before we need to surface." They descended deeper, following the underwater beacon that still transmitted the Kelbari distress signal. At 500 meters down, they finally saw it, a massive dome built into the side of an underwater mountain. Small lights flickered around its edges showing it was still inhabited. "This must be where the survivors gathered," Dr. Patel said. "Send the greeting message." A simple series of light pulses flashed from the shuttle, the universal greeting pattern that Dr. Patel had worked out from the Kelbari messages. For a long minute, nothing happened. Then suddenly, dozens of lights began blinking back from the dome. A heavy metal door on the side of the structure slowly opened, revealing a water-filled chamber big enough for their shuttle. "They're inviting us in," Dr. Patel said, his voice filled with relief. "Take us in, slowly." The shuttle eased into the chamber, and the door closed behind them. Water drained from around them until they settled on a metal floor. Through the windows they could see a crowd of Kelbari gathering outside, pressing against clear walls that separated their water-filled city from the air-filled chamber. Dr. Patel was the first to exit the shuttle. He approached the clear wall and got his first real look at the Kelbari. They were smaller than humans, with slender bodies that shimmered with blues and greens. Their large eyes, 3 on each face, blinked rapidly as they studied the strange, air-breathing creatures who had come to their world. One Kelbari moved forward, wearing what appeared to be a ceremonial headdress made of glowing sea plants. Using a device attached to the wall, the alien created vibrations that the human's computers translated. "You came," said the simple message. "Many said no one would come." Dr. Patel pressed his hand against the clear wall. After a moment's hesitation, the Kelbari leader placed 3 webbed fingers against the other side. "We're from Earth," Dr. Patel said, his voice thick with emotion. "We received your distress call. We're here to help." The Kelbari's skin changed color, flashing a deep blue that spread through the watching crowd. The translation device vibrated again. "Why would air breathers risk themselves for water dwellers they never met?" Dr. Patel smiled. "Because that's what humans do. We couldn't just let you die." Suddenly the floor shook violently. Cracks appeared in the distant walls of the dome, and water began to spray through them. The Kelbari leader's skin turned a panicked red. "Not much time," came the translated message. "Our home is breaking. 20,000 of us remain. Can you save us?" Captain Kumar's voice came through Dr. Patel's communicator. "The earthquakes are getting worse. The entire seabed is becoming unstable. We need to start evacuation immediately, or no one's getting off this planet alive." Dr. Patel looked at the frightened aliens watching him with their big, hopeful eyes. Children clung to their parents. Elders huddled in groups. An entire civilization waited to see if strangers from another world would be their salvation, or if they had come just in time to witness their end. "Yes," Dr. Patel said firmly, "we can save you, but we must start now." The evacuation center hummed with activity as humans and Kelbari worked side by side. The humans had set up a temporary base in the largest dome, converting cargo containers into water-filled transport pods that could safely carry Kelbari to the waiting ships. Dr. Wong supervised the loading of the first group, mostly children and elders, making sure their water contained the right balance of minerals to keep them comfortable during the journey. "Another quake coming," shouted a sensor technician. Everyone braced themselves as the floor shuddered violently. A massive crack split across the ceiling, sending water pouring in. 2 engineers raced to seal it with emergency patches. Captain Kumar wiped sweat from his forehead. "That's the 3rd one in 2 hours. They're getting stronger." The Kelbari leader, who had introduced himself as Leith, swam up to the communication panel. His skin flashed patterns of blue and gold as he spoke through the translator. "The great shaking has happened before, but never this bad," Leith explained. "Our histories tell of small shakings every few hundred seasons." Dr. Chen, the geology expert, looked up from her instruments with a puzzled expression. "Captain, something's not right. These earthquake patterns aren't natural. The planet's core is showing unusual energy fluctuations." "What do you mean, not natural?" Captain Kumar asked. "I need to see the Kelbari historical records," Dr. Chen replied. Lith led them deeper into the dome, to a chamber filled with strange crystal formations. "Our memory stones," he explained. "They hold our history." The Kelbari pressed his webbed hands against one of the larger crystals, causing it to glow and project images into the water. The humans watched through their breathing masks as scenes from ancient Kelba appeared, showing a time when the seas were calm and filled with colorful life. Then the images changed. Strange ships appeared. Not human ships, but something else. The crystal showed tall, reptilian aliens drilling into the ocean floor with massive machines. "Stop," Dr. Chen said. "Those are Vraxian ships. They're one of the founding races of the Galactic Council." The images continued, showing the aliens extracting glowing blue crystals from deep within the planet. After they left, the first small earthquakes began. "They mined something from your planet's core," Dr. Chen said, anger rising in her voice. "Whatever they took, it destabilized your entire planet. This isn't a natural disaster. It's the long-term effect of their mining operation." Lith's skin darkened to a deep purple, a sign of shock and grief. "The ancient visitors came before my grandparents' time. They took the bright stones and left. We thought they were gods." Captain Kumar's communicator beeped urgently. "Captain, this is the horizon. We have a situation. A Galactic Council enforcement vessel just entered orbit. They're demanding we cease all operations immediately." "Tell them we're conducting an emergency evacuation," Captain Kumar replied. "They know, sir. They say that's why they're here, to stop us." The humans exchanged worried glances. On the main communication screen, the face of a Vraxian commander appeared, the same reptilian species they had just seen in the Kelbari historical records. "Human vessels, this is Enforcement Cruiser Dominion. You are in violation of Council Directive 5591. Cease your interference with natural planetary processes and withdraw immediately." Captain Kumar stepped forward. "We're evacuating survivors from a disaster your people caused. Your mining operation centuries ago destabilized this planet's core." The Vraxian's face showed no emotion. "Those accusations are irrelevant. The Council has ruled. The Kelbari species has been determined non-viable. Your presence here is illegal. We're not leaving these people to die," Captain Kumar stated firmly. "Then, we will be forced to disable your vessels," the Vraxian replied coldly. "You have 1 hour to withdraw." As the screen went dark, another violent quake shook the dome. A support beam crashed down, narrowly missing a group of Kelbari children being loaded into transport pods. "The North Dome just collapsed," reported a communications officer. "We've lost contact with the team there." Dr. Patel looked at the thousands of frightened Kelbari still waiting to be evacuated. "We need more time." "And we need to expose what the Council did here," Dr. Chen added, holding up a crystal containing the historical records. "This is proof they caused this disaster." Captain Kumar nodded grimly. "Get these records to the horizon immediately." He turned to his team. "We have 1 hour before that enforcement ship makes good on its threat. Let's make every minute count." As humans raced to save as many Kelbari as possible, the planet beneath them continued to break apart, while above, the Council ship moved into attack position, its weapons powering up. As the evacuation continued, something unexpected began to happen in the crowded underwater domes. Despite the danger all around them, despite the ticking clock, humans and Kelbari started to connect. It began simply enough. A young engineer was struggling to repair a water filtration system when a small Kelbari child swam up beside him. The child, no more than 6 years old by human standards, watched curiously through 3 blinking eyes. "I can't reach that valve," the engineer muttered, stretching his arm into a narrow pipe. To his surprise, the Kelbari child squeezed her tiny body into the gap and turned the valve with her webbed hands. When she emerged, her skin rippled with colors that somehow conveyed both pride and shyness. "Thank you," the engineer said, smiling through his breathing mask. He offered the child a thumbs up. After studying his hand, the child tried to mimic the gesture with her 6 fingers, creating a fumbled but earnest attempt that made them both laugh. By the next day, small groups of humans and Kelbari could be seen working together throughout the evacuation zones. The universal translators struggled with the complex meanings in Kelbari language, but they found other ways to communicate. In the medical area, Dr. Wong was checking the vital signs of an elderly Kelbari when she noticed something odd. The patient's skin was changing color in a pattern that seemed to affect the humans nearby. Those closest to the Kelbari suddenly reported feeling calmer, despite the chaos around them. "What's happening?" Dr. Wong asked Lith, who was helping coordinate the medical evacuations. Old Singer is singing the calm song, Lith explained. You cannot hear it with your ears, but your bodies feel it. Dr. Wong looked puzzled. You can affect emotions through your skin colors? Lith's skin rippled with what the humans had learned was their equivalent of a smile. We sing with our bodies. It is how we heal, how we teach our young, how we remember our history. Over the next few hours, the humans discovered that the Kelbari possessed abilities that went far beyond what the Galactic Council had dismissed. Their emotional songs could ease pain, reduce fear, and even help heal certain injuries. Several human doctors began documenting these techniques, amazed at their effectiveness. In another section of the dome, a group of human navigators were updating their star charts when a Kelbari elder approached. Using a mixture of translated words and hand gestures, the elder explained that the Kelbari had been mapping the stars for thousands of years, despite never leaving their planet. "How is that possible?" asked the lead navigator. Through the translator, the elder explained that Kelbari eyes could see light frequencies that human eyes couldn't. They had been tracking subtle energy patterns between stars that human instruments had never detected. The elder pressed his hand against a memory crystal, projecting a star map unlike anything the humans had ever seen. It showed corridors of energy flowing between star systems, natural pathways that could potentially make space travel faster and safer. "This could revolutionize how we navigate," the navigator whispered, amazed. The council said these people had nothing to offer. The galaxy? Meanwhile, the Kelbari were equally fascinated by humans. They watched in wonder as the humans worked tirelessly, going without sleep to save as many Kelbari as possible. They were amazed by human technology, but even more by human compassion. A group of Kelbari children gathered around a human soldier who was helping load supplies. One brave child reached out to touch the soldier's hand. "Why help us?" the child asked through a small translator. "You not know us before." The soldier knelt down to eye level with the child. "Because it's the right thing to do. On Earth, we have a saying, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet." The Kelbari child's skin flashed with bright colors of joy and wonder. Soon all the children were reaching out to touch the human's hands, their skin glowing with a rainbow of emotions. In another area, a human teacher who had volunteered for the mission sat with a group of Kelbari youth, exchanging simple stories. She showed them pictures of Earth, its forests, mountains, and cities. The Kelbari showed her their art, intricate patterns of light and color that they created by synchronizing their skin displays. "Your world is so different from ours," one young Kelbari said. "Will we find a place there?" "We'll make a place for you," the teacher promised. "Different doesn't mean we can't be friends." As the deadline from the council ship grew closer, these moments of connection became more precious. Humans and Kelbari worked faster, driven by a shared determination. They weren't just rescuing bodies anymore. They were saving a culture, a history, a way of seeing the universe that would otherwise be lost forever. Lith found Captain Kumar checking evacuation numbers. "Your people risk much for us," Lith said, his skin showing patterns of deep blue gratitude. "The sky rulers threaten you, yet you stay." Captain Kumar smiled tiredly. "That's humanity at its best. We don't always get it right, but when it really matters, we try to stand up for what's right. If we survive," Lith said, "our peoples will be bound forever by this day." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the dome. On the communication screens, they could see the council enforcement ship moving into firing position. Their time was up. The entire dome shook violently as another earthquake tore through Kelba's ocean floor. Chunks of ceiling crashed down, sending water spraying in all directions. Alarm sirens wailed as red emergency lights flashed throughout the evacuation center. "Status report!" Captain Kumar shouted over the noise, steadying himself against a wall. "Planet's core has reached critical instability," reported Dr. Chen, her eyes fixed on a screen showing terrifying readings. "We have less than 6 hours before complete planetary collapse." The captain looked at the evacuation numbers. They had managed to get 15,000 Kelbari safely aboard the human ships, but 5,000 still remained in the crumbling dome. And now they had a new problem. "The council ship has disabled 2 of our transports," the communications officer announced grimly. The Phoenix and the Venture are dead in the water. Their engines are completely fried. Outside, through the dome's viewing ports, they could see the massive Council enforcement vessel hovering above the churning ocean. Its weapons had already fired warning shots, disabling the 2 human ships that had been carrying evacuees to the fleet. Captain Kumar made a quick calculation. With 2 ships down, they had lost 20% of their remaining transport capacity. There wasn't enough room for everyone anymore. "Captain," Dr. Patel approached, his face grim, "I've checked the numbers 3 times. Even if we pack people in beyond safety limits, we can only evacuate 4,000 more Kelbari." The words hung in the air. 1,000 people would be left behind to die when the planet tore itself apart. Lith, the Kelbari leader, had been listening. His skin turned a pale blue of deep sadness. "We understand. The old ones will stay. It is our way." "No, Captain," Kumar said firmly. "We're not leaving anyone behind if I can help it." He turned to his communications officer. "Patch me through to every ship in the fleet." On the main screen, the faces of the other ship captains appeared, all looking tired and worried. "I need volunteers," Captain Kumar announced. "Anyone willing to give up their return seat so 1 more Kelbari can live? You'd be staying behind until the very last shuttle, with no guarantee of escape." For a moment there was silence, then 1 hand raised, then another, and another. Within minutes, more than 1,000 people, engineers, doctors, soldiers, and civilians, had volunteered to risk their lives. "I'll stay," said Dr. Wong, stepping forward. "The last group will need medical support." "Me too," added the young engineer who had first connected with the Kelbari children. "I can keep the life support systems running longer." Captain Kumar looked at these brave humans with pride and heartbreak. "The final shuttle can only take 200 people. If more than that volunteer to stay, then some of us don't make it home," Dr. Wong finished quietly. "We understand the risk, Captain." As the evacuation continued with renewed urgency, the storms outside grew more violent. The ocean's surface churned with waves taller than mountains. Lightning struck continuously, and the acid in the water was now so strong it was eating through the metal supports of the dome. In orbit, the rest of the human fleet was taking defensive positions against the Council ship. They couldn't match its firepower, but they could shield the evacuation transports making their way up from the surface. "The Council ship is charging weapons again," warned the communications officer. Just as the Vraxian vessel prepared to fire, 3 small ships appeared suddenly from hyperspace. To everyone's surprise, they weren't human ships. They belonged to the small green aliens who had secretly supported Earth at the Council meeting. "Human friends," came a transmission from the lead alien ship. "We bring help from others who disagree with Council's decision. We will protect your evacuation." The small ships positioned themselves between the Council, Enforcer, and the human fleet. Though outmatched, their presence created a moment of hesitation from the Vraxians. Back in the dome, the final groups of Kelbari were being loaded into transport pods. The water level was rising as more cracks appeared in the walls. Several sections had already collapsed completely. 1 hour until total structural failure, warned an engineer checking the support beams. "The last shuttle needs to launch within 40 minutes or it won't make it out." Captain Kumar made the hardest announcement of his life. "All volunteers staying behind, report to Emergency Staging Area C. The rest of you, get those Kelbari to the transports. Move." In the chaos of the evacuation, small moments of courage and connection continued. A human soldier carried an injured Kelbari elder through rising water to reach a transport pod. A Kelbari child gave a memory crystal containing their family, history to a human teacher, trusting her to preserve their culture. As the last regular transport left, only the final shuttle remained. 215 volunteers had stayed behind with the remaining Kelbari, 15 more people than the shuttle could carry. "We need to launch in 5 minutes," the shuttle pilot warned. Captain Kumar looked at the brave volunteers. "I won't choose who stays. You'll have to decide among yourselves." Before anyone could speak, the dome gave a terrible groan. A massive crack split across the main chamber, and seawater began pouring in at an alarming rate. "No time," shouted Dr. Wong. "Everyone to the shuttle now." As they raced toward the final escape vessel, No one noticed that Dr. Patel and 5 other crew members had quietly stepped back, ensuring that the others would make it aboard. The shuttle doors began to close as the dome's supports finally gave way. Through the closing gap, Captain Kumar spotted Dr. Patel standing back with the others. "Patel, what are you doing?" he shouted. Dr. Patel simply smiled and saluted. "Someone has to stay behind to send the evidence about what the council did here. Get our people home, Captain, and make sure the Kelbari find a good new home." The doors sealed shut as the dome collapsed behind them. The shuttle's engines roared to life, pushing against the crushing pressure of the dying world. As they broke through the surface into the storm-filled sky, every person aboard, human and Kelbari alike, knew that some had sacrificed everything so that others could live. The last images from Kelba showed the planet beginning to break apart, great fissures opening across its surface as the shuttle raced toward the waiting fleet. 3 months after the desperate escape from Kelba, Earth was a different place. The returning fleet had been welcomed as heroes, though the celebration was mixed with mourning for those who didn't make it back. Dr. Patel and the others who stayed behind were honored with memorials in every major city. The Kelbari found their new home in Earth's oceans, starting with settlement areas built in the warm waters near Indonesia and Australia. Humans had worked day and night to create underwater habitats where the aliens could live comfortably, while adjusting to Earth's slightly different ocean chemistry. On a sunny morning, President Reyes stood on a floating platform above the largest Kelbari settlement, known as New Kelba. She was there to officially recognize the aliens as Earth's first refugee species and permanent residents of the planet. Through the clear floor of the platform, she could see hundreds of Kelbari gathered. Below the surface, their skin glittering with excited patterns of gold and green. Beside her stood Lith, now wearing a special water-filled helmet that allowed him to breathe while visiting the surface world for short periods. "Today marks a new chapter for both our peoples," the president announced to the watching crowd and cameras. "What began as a rescue mission has become something much more, a partnership between species." She wasn't exaggerating. In just 3 months, the collaboration between humans and Kelbari had produced remarkable results. Kelbari medical techniques that used sound waves to heal tissue were already being adapted for human hospitals. Their understanding of ocean currents had helped human scientists develop better climate models, and their ability to detect energy patterns between stars was revolutionizing space travel. In return, humans had shared their technology, their resources, and most importantly, their friendship. After the ceremony, a young reporter approached Lith. Some people worried that taking in 20,000 aliens would be too expensive or difficult. What would you say to them? Lith's skin rippled thoughtfully before he spoke through his translator. When you save a drowning person, do you first ask what they will give you in return? My people bring what we can, our knowledge, our music, our gratitude, but the most valuable thing we bring is the reminder that different peoples can help each other simply because it is right. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the Galactic Council was facing a crisis of its own. Earth's broadcast of the Kelbari rescue, along with the evidence that Council members had caused Kelba's destruction through their mining operations, had spread to every corner of space. On the Council's massive space station, representatives were gathering for an emergency session. The mood was tense as delegates from smaller, less powerful species whispered among themselves, casting suspicious glances at the Vraxian representatives. The council leader, looking distinctly uncomfortable, called the session to order. "We are here to discuss the situation with Earth and their harboring of the Kelbari species against council directive." "Before we begin," interrupted a representative from a small purple-skinned race, "many of us wish to know why the council lied about the cause of Kelba's destruction. The humans have shared proof that Vraxian mining caused the planet's collapse." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. The Vraxian delegate hissed in anger. "The humans know nothing. They are primitives who risked everything to save a species that your people condemned to death," finished another delegate, "while we, the supposedly advanced races, stood by and did nothing." Back on Earth, life was settling into new patterns. In coastal cities around the world, special markets had opened where humans and Kelbari could meet and trade. Underwater viewing areas allowed human children to watch Kelbari artisans create their beautiful light sculptures. Schools had begun exchange programs, with human children learning to dive alongside Kelbari youngsters. In a research center near Sydney, a team of human and Kelbari scientists were making a breakthrough. Dr. Lee, a quantum physicist, stared in amazement at the results on her screen. It works. The Kelbari navigation map combined with our propulsion system cuts travel time between stars by 40%. Beside her, in a water-filled section of the lab, her Kelbari colleague's skin flashed with excitement. "Together we see things neither could see alone," he said. 6 months after the rescue, a fleet of ships appeared in Earth's orbit, but they weren't Council enforcers coming to punish humanity. Instead, they carried representatives from 30 different alien species, all smaller powers within the galactic community, all impressed by what humans had done. "Who risked everything to save a species that your people condemned to death," finished another delegate, "while we, the supposedly advanced races, stood by and did nothing." Back on Earth, life was settling into new patterns. In coastal cities around the world, special markets had opened where humans and Kelbari could meet and trade. Underwater viewing areas allowed human children to watch Kelbari artisans create their beautiful light sculptures. Schools had begun exchange programs, with human children learning to dive alongside Kelbari youngsters. In a research center near Sydney, a team of human and Kelbari scientists were making a breakthrough. Dr. Lee, a quantum physicist, stared in amazement at the results on her screen. "It works. The Kelbari navigation map combined with our propulsion system cuts travel time between stars by 40%. Beside her, in a water-filled section of the lab, her Kelbari colleague's skin flashed with excitement. "Together we see things neither could see alone," he said. 6 months after the rescue, a fleet of ships appeared in Earth's orbit, but they weren't Council enforcers coming to punish humanity. Instead, they carried representatives from 30 different alien species, all smaller powers within the galactic community, all impressed by what humans had done.